what's like your give me your top 3 songs from the album right now.
Spaghetti, Two Hands to Heaven,
Okay.
and Sweet Honey Buckin'.
Levi's Jeans, definitely Spaghetti, and definitely Riverdance. And she was too country when she first came out, and then when she leaned into it, it's like, okay, she's not country enough, and so.
Hey Bestie Bees, it's your girl Desiree. Hey.
And it's your girl, my Lizzle.
And today we're gonna talk about all things Beyoncé. The new era is out, y'all. Act 2. She released Cowboy Carter, and so that's what we're gonna get into today.
Let's get into it. So, happy Saturday. What Beyonce song are you feeling today? We have a whole new 27 songs to add to our moods.
The Beyonce song for me that I'm feeling today is Tyrant, right? That's how you say it.
Okay.
Because there's one part where she goes, I think, have you seen her 5'9", thick, and something else? And I'm like, I'm 5'9". I'm a little thick. I'm trying to get a little thicker, so
it was fitting.
It was really like describing, I feel like, description of me. I really like that song too, so that's my song today. What about you?
Dang, I'm kind of upset that I didn't give it too much thought because I'm still like processing this whole album. Dang. Okay, maybe the one with Post Malone. Remind me which one that was.
Levi Jeans.
Yeah, just because I'm a lover girl. I love the love songs, and like just the idea of like I want to be your Levi's jeans, so like I could just hug on you and be close to you. Like that's so romantic. I love a good love song.
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw Post Malone because I'm gonna be honest, I'm not the biggest fan. I'm not really into the music, but I'm like, Beyonce's gonna give him a chance. I'll give him a chance too, And it was a cute song, but yeah, I do love the love songs as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
So what are the updates and the teas of the teas?
Girl, a lot. Like this whole thing came out. Okay, so I think she did an interview with W Magazine,
right?
And she revealed that she actually was going to release Cowboy Carter first.
Oh yeah.
For Renaissance. So that kind of to me like just changes things a little bit, like. And also she said that the reason why she did that was because after when the pandemic happened, after all that, she felt like people needed to wanted to dance and everything. Exactly. And so Renaissance is more of that album. So she switched it. And it's funny because when you play like Amen and then I'm That Girl, it does like, okay, like I see what she was doing. So
yeah.
I'm really curious to see if Act 3, not to get ahead of myself, but like if that would blend in with Act 2 then. But yeah.
I would really love that too. But I love that she just acknowledged the fact that like it was too heavy to release at that time. Because of course we know everything that was going on with like the pandemic and the protests and like, police brutality and stuff like that probably would have that would have amped things up, especially between what happened on January 6th to you know what I'm talking about, right?
No.
When they stormed the Capitol.
Actually, that would have been perfect because all of them, they was them. Let me say that.
Yeah, so and this was her, we know this was her talking about like not being in her experience and not being in the country music space. So I feel like we definitely needed Renaissance. She was right about that.
No, for sure. Because I remember like when it came out and it was in 2022, so like things were just opening back up. I think that was the first summer where everything was officially opened. And
yeah, we were outside.
That was a year we was outside. When I said we went outside, we was outside like every weekend almost until like the holidays came about. But I really I was like, wow, like she really she knows what she's doing. Yeah. So I was like, it worked out I think perfectly, and I think she even said that in the interview that she just trusted God's time. Yeah. Which is maybe like I've been thinking about that too, like trusting God's time in the process and So when I seen her said that in the interview, I'm like, oh my God, that's just like confirmation of like really to just have faith and trust that it all will work out and everything. So
yeah, exactly. How do you feel about her saying in that interview that like this was the best music that she's ever done?
I just feel like, well, that's big to say, because she has so many great songs. And I remember in an interview a minute ago, like when she was maybe closer to our age, like early 2000s or so, or mid 2000s, I don't know. They asked her like, what's like your favorite song, or like a song that I guess like just from her catalog that she would say is like standing the test of time, like it was kind of like every generation could like get into it. And I think she said Crazy in Love.
Okay.
And so I'm curious to see like, does she still feel that way, or maybe does she feel that now at, you know, where we are currently, if she would pick one of the songs from this album, if she's saying that this is her best work, which I don't know. I feel like I never want to say like, oh, this is the best Beyonce thing, because I'm like, it's all good to me. Like, it's just Beyonce period. Like, whatever she does is the best to me. So it's so hard to even like say this is the best work she's done, because I just love all of it.
Yeah,
you know?
For sure. And it feels like I mean, she's done country before, but it's definitely a different body of work than than what we've gotten previously. But I do know one thing about her is that she's really competing with herself. And so like I feel like her saying that was probably just her affirming and like just the confirmation to herself that like this was another step up from like what we got with Renaissance.
Truly is outdoing herself. Like each project she puts out, I'm just like, how can she get better than this? I'm just like, but it makes me excited for the next project, because I'm like, you're telling me she's gonna top this, like,
right.
Even after, what was it? Homecoming. And that performance in the live album, and I was just like, wow, like, this is so big. And to think like that was in 2018, and I remember in that moment being like, wow, like how is she gonna like top that? But she has already with Renaissance, and I was like, wow, this lady, she's very impressive. And I don't know, it's just like, wow, it makes me even excited for like Act 3 and everything. And Act 2 just came out. I'm already like, what is Act 2 gonna be now, you know?
No, really. I mean, we've only had like a good day with it, and it's already easy to see that it's a great body of work. It's so good. But even with 27 songs, an hour and 20 minutes, like I can see her really being one of those people, especially because I feel like in today's day and age, a lot of music, like if you have a good solid 12 songs, like that's a nice size album now. So for her to intentionally do 27 songs, it just feels like every song has a purpose, and you can definitely tell that too. But yeah, so I'm excited to hear it tonight.
Oh my gosh.
Tell the people what we're doing tonight.
We're going to the club, y'all. Okay, we're in LA and it was just raining earlier, but that ain't gonna stop us.
Right.
Hopefully it's not gonna rain tonight, but there's gonna be now Club Cowboy Carter. So if y'all follow us on social media, we did post about Club Renaissance, which was in 2022 and last year as well. So there's a DJ by the name of Rose God who hosts these club nights where she plays the whole album front to back. She started with Renaissance, and now tonight she's starting with Club Cowboy Carter. So I'm actually I'm looking forward towards it, but the first half where it's like more slower and like love songs, kind of like in your feelings, I'm like, how is that gonna look in the club, you know? Because we don't have to wait until, I think like the first song I feel like you could dance to maybe is I gotta look back, but it's not until like a few songs in, you know?
I feel like after Daughters, whatever songs after Daughters.
Yeah, because even there's like Spaghetti where she's rapping, but then it kind of slows down again after that. Or Texas Hold'em.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like the first dance song.
That's true.
But some other ones, even one of my faves. So right now my favorite is Two Hands to Heaven. It's like, it just makes me love again, you know, like that's a song I would like want to sing to my significant partner or something. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna be crying in the club for real this time.
No, seriously, the first few songs are all like sappy to me. Like the intro, maybe not so really the first songs, but like Blackbird, 16 Carriages, My Protector, My Rose, like it definitely makes me feel a little sappy. And then Texas Hold'em will probably be the one to bring me back to where
I know how.
I might. That's probably when I'll start getting into dancing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to dancing, I guess, like more towards the last half of the album, since it is more like a beat song, especially like let me look, Yaya,
oh yeah,
Riverdance, bounce on that, man, bounce on it. No, she said no hands. And even, okay, what was this one song, Desert Eagle? See, that's why I love Beyonce, because she gets like very I don't know if like raunchy is the right word, but like her lyrics is very sexual, this album. Like,
oh yeah, she's gonna let us know for sure.
She's gonna let us know what she's working with. She said it's creamy in the middle. I said, Beyonce, what you talking about? And then what was this other lyric? She's like, kiss these big lips. I was like, which ones?
Stop.
Beyonce, what you talking about, Beyonce? I mean, I know she's like known to like talk about stuff like that, especially like in Blow, which was in Self-Titled, and that's one of my favorite songs by her as well. So I'm like really excited to dance to those songs. Oh, and then Sweet Honey Buckin'.
Yeah. So what's like your top? Give me your top 3 songs from the album right now.
I think it has to be Spaghetti, Two Hands to Heaven, and Sweet Honey Buckin'.
Okay.
Yeah, what about you?
Okay, so I think right now definitely I cannot it's so many songs on here. Levi's Jeans. That's one. Definitely Spaghetti, and definitely Riverdance. And I actually really like Blackbird for sentimental reasons too.
Yeah.
I'm soft.
I feel like you tell the difference. I'm like, I'm over here like bugging.
Yeah, I'm soft and sentimental, and I'm like, me and my mom were like big Beatles fans, so it's like when I heard that, instantly tears. And even the first song, I've seen like conversations on it on Twitter, but it kind of gives like Queen. Are you familiar with Queen?
The band? A little bit. I know a little bit of their songs. I mean, like the popular ones.
So they're really known for getting like, they get very theatrical. Oh yeah. And like they have so many like layers to their music. Sometimes their music even will sound like it's like opera or like music from a play. The first song kind of gives me that a little bit too. But yeah, that second one, and then to have Blackbird and 16 Carriages, it was like I'm really in my room crying.
We really gonna be crying that quick. I'm like, bro, with 16 carriages, I'm like, how are we gonna dance to 16 carriages? You know?
That's gonna be one to sing, for
no,
sure.
for real. I think everyone's gonna be in the middle
of a singing song.
A singing song. Yeah, I even like, Jolene. I was so happy she covered that, because I know Dolly Parton wanted her to cover that as well. And she did not miss. Like, she really, did that song really well. And I even like in the background was like Jolene. She had like her own little twist to it. I think she probably changed some of the lyrics.
She did. In the original one, Dolly Parton is like, I'm begging you not to take him because I know that you can take him. But Beyonce is like, I'm warning you, don't do it, because I don't play that shit, basically.
Because no one else in this world can think like her.
Yeah. So it was like the same song, but Beyonce, same song, same kind of concept, but Dolly Parton's version is kind of like, please don't take my man. Beyonce was more like, I want you to try it.
Do it, hell. Do it, so you gonna have it. You know, I actually expected that, because when I thought about her covering Jolene, I was like, I don't know if Beyonce would be like, please, I beg you, don't take my man. I feel like she would say like, girl, you could try, but it's going to take, I think she called Jolene desperate in the song, and like it's going to take more than just being a groupie or, you know, to take my man.
Okay, so I also like what is the one where Dolly P, where she has like that moment of talking. I do like that she acknowledges like Becky with the good hair. She's like, you know that hussy you talked about? It's like, yeah, she's like, I know somebody, or that reminds me of somebody that I know. And I'm like, it felt like a full circle moment.
It did. And I'm wondering now, like, did Beyonce reference like Becky with the good hair as like, did she get inspiration from Dolly Parton, like talking about hair, like girls' hair? Because in Jolene, like Dolly Parton, she does mention like the girl she's talking about has
like
red hair, right? And then Beyonce says Becky with the good hair. So I'm like, oh, did Beyonce like reference, like, did she get that reference from Dolly Parton? You know, like talking about a woman and like her hair.
Yeah.
But like switching up like Becky with the good hair. I feel like also like culturally to fit, you know.
I don't know. I feel like this might sound terrible, but I feel like that was kind of Beyonce's. The good hair and Becky was like Beyonce's way of letting us know that Jay-Z cheated on her with a white woman.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, I remember people talking about that, and they said it's either with a white woman or just when we refer to good hair in the black community, it's usually like a looser, curly texture.
Yeah, true. But it's like Becky is definitely.
But Becky is where it's like Becky.
Becky is like when I think of Becky, I think of like, oh my gosh, Becky, look at her butt. And it's like the white girl is hitting on the black girl for being thick. So
this is the but I love Jolene, and I can't wait to hear that in the club beat too. Like I think I'll try to find a way to dance to that. But this is what I'll be wearing. I got this hat. I wanted cow print. Boom boom. I don't know if I want to change my hair up a little bit, but I thought I try to do good and dress Western country, you know.
It's giving that. I love the belt too.
Thank you. What do you plan to, what look are you going for tonight?
So I did not get a hat, but I know there's going to be so many events like after the fact, so I'm still planning on ordering the hat. We're gonna take some pictures too, so of course I'm gonna need that. But for sure, my cowboy boots, which I'm happy that I already had them on deck.
Yeah, that's mine. We're flipped. Like I have the hat, but I don't have the boots. So I might try and go out and get some before.
Yeah, I mean, even without it though, it's still
cute. I don't want to wear heels.
Yeah, I get you.
Wearing heels in the club is so overrated now. I'm like, I don't be comfortable.
No, for sure. But yeah, I have my boots, and then I know I'm gonna wear boots and a flannel, and then I'm for sure gonna wear my hair in like these pigtails, because I feel like that is kind of giving like country or like southern-esque vibes. Yeah. And I don't know, we'll see. I feel like I can pull something together, at least for tonight. It's the first night too, so nobody's gonna know the lyrics, and I feel like, since it we've had the tickets for a while, so maybe people will come all out.
Yeah, that's true, but it's the first one. I just think we're just getting a feel for it, and then like, you know how last year there was multiple Club Renaissance, so I'm pretty sure we'll have another chance to get all ready, which I always look forward to. I love getting ready and like looking cute, so yeah, I'm really happy that DJ Rose Goddess, you know, staying with it and now transitioning to the next act too.
Cowboy Carter.
Yeah.
So because we've been talking about this for weeks, Let's get into the predictions that we had that kind of came true, because we've been talking about her rapping on this, and I will say I wish it was a little bit more, but I'm not mad that we got some rapping Beyonce on this too.
No, for real, and a little raunchiness. So I think because you said you would want like rap Beyonce, and I was like, I don't want some raunchiness, like some like, I need to shake my ass too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm really happy that she gave us both. And I think I also said something about, I feel like this is going to be something to do with her mom, because this one post she had, like at the very last, it was like a slideshow, like those that you can do on Instagram. And the last picture was her mom, and I'm like, And then when she posted that one thing with the shawl on her, and it says her last name, Beyoncé. Her mom's maiden last name. The original spelling too. I was like, is this gonna have to do something with her mom? And then I recently saw, I forgot who posted it, but someone like did a breakdown of the album, and that they believe the Renaissance was a tribute to her uncle, and then this album's a tribute to her mom, and maybe Act 3 will be a tribute to like sisterhood or something like that. So I definitely feel like this is her going back to her roots and just being proud, and also, but I'm still so curious of like, it's called Cowboy Carter, and that is Jay-Z's last name, but then it's also to, I think, what is it, like a play on word about like the first
I think
family?
it's like this family. I didn't get too deep into it, but I know it's like, at least what people kind of have conspired is that it's this family that's like really known for creating this style of country music that kind of developed into where like country music is today. And it's a white family, and it's kind of like
the Carter family.
And it's kind of like just by it's just like a coincidence that they're also like the Carter family too. So I feel like that was definitely a good, very intentional, good choice of like the name for the album too.
But I thought that was just interesting for it to be Carter, but then I feel like she's touching more on her like Louisiana Creole Beyonce roots really in the album, because some of the songs like say like with Jolene, like I'm still that Creole Benji bitch from Louisiana, which a theory I heard about that was like that Jolene's from the perspective of her mom. Like this album is from the perspective of her mother, or tribute to her mom, and so Jolene is sung from the perspective of Tina Knowles, which Tina Knowles, she kept Matthew Knowles' last name. That's like, I'm getting like off topic, but I'm just thinking about that, like with the whole last name Beyonce, and
I mean that definitely happens, especially when women are kind of, they get established when they are married, and when they're not married, they do kind of keep that last name that they had, because that's like their brand.
True. That's
like
true.
Tina Turner fought for her name, because after they like weren't together anymore, like that I don't remember exactly what it was, but she fought to keep her name.
Oh, Turner?
Yeah.
I don't know, because it's Mike Turner's last name?
Yeah, Ike Turner.
Ike Turner? I said Mike.
You're good. Even though her real name was Anna Mae, but like I think he gave her that name.
Did somebody recording?
No, it didn't. I just hit it.
Oh, okay.
No, I think that was definitely a good take, because I was wondering like, why did she say from Louisiana?
Her mom grew up in Texas too, but I think like Creole that comes from like Louisiana, like her family lineage does go back to Louisiana. And I was just thinking, if all of this is true, like my theory is like, is daughter also from the perspective of Tina? And if that's the case, then when Beyonce talks about like she's colder, like I forgot what she says, but I think in Daughter she mentions, people say I'm nothing like my dad or something, but I'm cold as Titanic water. And so I'm like, is she saying like she's like Matthew Knowles, or is she saying Tina is like her father, who has that's Beyonce was his last name. And so I did a little research of like, who is Beyonce's dad, and I didn't get too much into it, like, or no, who is Beyonce's dad, who is Tina Knowles' dad, who's Beyonce's grandfather on her mom's side. And just curious of like, you know, what was his life like, or, you know, who was he, or who were her grandparents, you know, who I think passed before she was born, or I know at least her grandmother was from her mom's side, and like the historical significance of the last name Beyonce. I think it is Creole. It is, I think they can trace it back to France, and everything like that. So I'm just really curious about that, because the name is French, so if you keep going, you're gonna like, I guess, find a whole bunch of French people, you know, which they're not country, I think. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes back to like, we, you know, black people were like brought over here, and a lot of like, it's just how everything like settled like during that time of like slavery, and then generations and generations went on, like kind of like how in other like black countries they speak different languages like French and like you know, it's just like over time all those things mixed because of things that were happening then. But I don't know, that's an interesting take. What is that, the same song where she talks about the dad too? Like, is that still daughter? Daughter, okay. I don't know. About like, because I think like Jolene, it makes sense that it could be from her mom's perspective, but I feel like daughters, I can't remember exactly right now what she was saying, but I feel like that was another one that seemed really personal to her.
Yeah.
Because I think that is that one after Protector? Oh no, that one's, it's so many songs on this album. I'm like,
it's still hard to keep up, but I think it's after Jolene.
Fresh. Yeah.
Or yeah.
Let's get into the song with Miley. What did you think about that one?
I gotta listen to it again.
Yeah.
But I love Miley Cyrus. I grew up watching her as Hannah Montana, and so to see this, like, her be on a Beyonce album, I don't know. It's like kind of like I'm seeing my big sister like grow up or something. I don't know. It's very like I just feel proud of like my big sister.
Yeah.
Because first of like how I grew up on her and her a little bit of her music, and like her being on Disney and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my god, Miley.
I actually really like that one too. I should have brought that up when we got into our favorite songs. The song kind of gives me that it's like a ode to sisterhood. And but yeah, it's like I'm always gonna be your best friend, like no matter what we go through or like what we've been through, like I'm gonna be here for you, like basically riding like shotgun, no matter what we go. Excuse me. The champagne getting to me. And so I like that one kind of makes me feel a little emotional too, but I was surprised to hear how their voices complemented each other, because they definitely have different styles, but they both can do country, so that was kind of refreshing to hear. I do recall at the end of it, like there's like thinking like music wise, like Miley hits this note, and then in the next like 8 bars or whatever, Beyonce comes back in and hits the same note, and it's like so satisfying. Like they go back and forth a lot, and then they like sing together and like harmonize. It's really nice. I actually really like that one too.
One of the other songs that I really liked that had a feature on it was Blackbird, and I feel like I'm wondering if it's Beyonce kind of like giving Tanner Adele reassurance to like continue with her, or like basically just giving her reassurance that she's doing good in like the country genre, because Beyonce knows firsthand like the rejection that comes with it, being a black woman, everything. And even when I went on Tanner Adele's Instagram page, she kind of mentioned that, and I think an interview, but it was more towards like slut shaming. And I think her Buckle Bunny, her song, like that's kind of, she made that song to kind of fight against that, like country can be so conservative sometimes. Yeah. And so she's like, no, this is my style, and this is like what I like to sing about. And she doesn't want to be like, I just feel like just also fighting as well for her career. And I feel like that song, to me, I just feel like Beyonce is just telling her, like, do you, boo, and like this is the moment you've been waiting for. I think that's like part of the lyrics. This is the moment you've been waiting for. And even it wasn't a Beatles song as well, and like it was for like black girls. Yeah, and everything.
It was like so basically Paul McCartney said in an interview before that he was learning about everything that was going on in the US, and this was around the time when like the Little Rock Nine was integrating schools. And that came with like a lot of, it was just a lot of stuff going on, and like the kids that were involved, and he basically wanted to do a song about that, but he didn't want it to be blatant. And so I guess in Europe or in the UK, a bird, they call like they would refer to a woman as like a bird, not in like a bad way at all. It was just like that was another word to refer to like a woman. Yeah. And so he basically made it more in like a general sense, so it can tie into no matter like what you're going through. But it was really kind of just a song for black women that were going through everything that was going on during that time, like racism, segregation, and stuff. Yeah, so I felt like it was definitely intentional for her to have that on the album, and then to have like those women specifically on the song, because I can't remember, I can't remember which girl it was, but one of them, she said she's been in Nashville for 10 years pursuing music, and like that's something that's really hard to do. Even Money Long has even attempted to do country music, and she says like when you're in like getting it out of the mud and you have to go in person and show up and stuff, people will really look at you like, why are you here? Like you're not supposed to be here and stuff. So I feel like the Beyonce was definitely intentional about doing that song, but then also putting them on that song too. Like, I think definitely to what you're saying, that's like, she wasn't expected or accepted in that space. And so this was like her moment to also open the doors for other black women in the country space to feel accepted, because like if they're not getting the recognition, they're like getting recognition from Beyonce means probably even more than that too. Actually, I think all of those black country artists on the album are in like the top 100 or top 200, I think, right now, like after that album dropped too. So it's like that's so awesome to me, because that's important, and I think that's exactly what community is necessary for. And I think she was really intentional about making sure she had them on there.
Yeah, like lifted them up as well. Yeah. And what do you think the overall, or your thoughts on like the meaning or the message that the album is like trying to communicate, or what are your takeaways?
I think a really big thing is just her creating that space for herself and creating that space for other people to do country, because she's had the experience, like she kind of said, this album came out of an experience that she had where she didn't feel accepted. And even in the first song she says like, like she wasn't country, and or they said she wasn't country. She was too country at first. Sorry, she was too country when she first came out, and then when she leaned into it, it's like, okay, she's not country enough. And so I think it's just really a testament to, like, you don't have to prove that you belong anywhere. Like, if you want to be somewhere, you want to do something, and it's not necessarily like accepted because of like hate and racism, like, or whatever the case may be, like, you can create that space for yourself. And I feel like that's exactly what she did with this album. But also I love that it wasn't just her creating it for herself, it was her bringing other people in too. And then I feel like it was just a chance for her to be vulnerable and like just talk about things that were going on in her life, like even like from the song Jolene, from her mom's perspective, and talking about being a mom and wanting to protect her kids and stuff. So I think it's definitely just creating that space for yourself and not caring about being accepted and stuff. But I think it was really just her way of like opening up to us and like being vulnerable, and like, I don't know, it was really comforting.
No, yeah, I feel the same way. That I feel like this album was just also to like reclaiming the genre, and for like representation, you know. And like that's some, like, you know, I think it's great for her that she had the features on it as well. So she's like taking people along with her, you know, and because she could, you know, like, I feel like other maybe big artists sometimes do, where like they get their foot in the door, or just anyone that like gets their foot in the door, and sometimes I feel like they forget where they come from, or it's like, you know, it's just me, like they're fine being like the token, you know. But I feel like Beyonce's like, no, I'm going to bring my people with me. And so I feel like that this album is a tribute to that as well, and just a tribute to her lineage, and being proud of that, and sharing that with us, you know, because when I think about it, I'm like, yeah, Beyonce, compared to like some of these other artists where I could probably tell you like where they grew up and everything, and how they grew up. With Beyonce, like, I know a little bit, but not a whole lot, you know. I didn't even know about Uncle Johnny until Renaissance, you know, and everything like that. So yeah, I do agree with, like, she just got really personal in this album, and I feel like her message is just like, create your own space, you know. You don't have to wait for anyone else's validation or anything, and why, when we created the genre, you know, in the first place. So it's like, is it really reclaiming what it, like, we've been here, you know? And I think just reminding people, this reminder. You know?
I think it's even important that she had like artists that are already in the country space to like not like the black artists that she had, but like Dolly Parton and Miley Cyrus and Willie Nelson. Like, those are even like Miley Cyrus too, like well-known people that are known for like doing country music, and like that's what they do. So it's like having that cosign from them was kind of like the sign that's like, okay, y'all were saying I wasn't country enough, or this isn't country music. I have Willie Nelson on the album. I have Dolly Parton on the album. Like, Miley's on the album, and she gets into country too. She's Tennessee country. Like, so it's kind of, even just that is like a sign that's like, okay, like, I'm here. Like, this is what I do, and she belongs in the space. And I think she created that for herself, but then it just also established, like, if she wasn't really country, then why are these big names in country music like working with her? Even but like Willie Nelson, I feel like I probably heard his name, but he just seemed like that. Like, when I look at him, I'm like, yeah, he country. Like, he just like typical country guy. So for someone like him to be on the album, I'm like, yeah, there's no denying this. Even not just that, like him being on the album, but just the songs overall in it. It's like, you guys tried to do it with Daddy's Lesson, of like, oh, this is not a country album, or this is not a country song, but I feel like there's no getting around it
with this album. Like, it definitely is, maybe not all country, but it's a country album, you know?
Yeah.
For the most part.
And that gets to me too, because why isn't it country?
Mm-hmm.
It's like how we talked about it too, like with hip hop and R&B, like there's so many sub-genres to that,
Mm-hmm.
but the overall umbrella is R&B. The overall umbrella is hip hop and rap.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to put it so blatantly, but so many white people have like infiltrated those spaces too. So I hate that when it comes to country, it's always like, this is country and that's not country. But it's like, country doesn't have to sound a certain way. There isn't like a cookie cutter way of doing country music. It really comes down to the technicalities and like the actual music and how it's like being composed. And even with Texas Hold'em, people were trying to say that's not really country. Do you hear the banjo in the song?
Right.
Like, there's certain aspects that like can make a song the song, just like in R&B music there's a certain beat, there's certain chords. In hip hop there's certain drums and certain beats and stuff that makes it like a hip hop and a rap song. So I just don't get why it's always that's not country, and it's like, okay, why isn't it? And then when it's the why, we're not asking why enough. Because there definitely isn't a why when that's the response. It really is because she's Beyonce, or because Tanner Adele is black. And that's just not a space that we're like welcomed in. But you know, I really hope and I really want to see things change. Because the same thing with Lil Nas X. Old Town Road was a country song with just
Billy Ray Cyrus was on it.
Yeah, it was
like,
a country song with like some beat to it, but everything he was talking about, his tone, the way he sang, it was very much
country
a country song. Yeah.
It's like I said, a sub-genre to country, but it's, I don't know, I think country has always, it seemed like their consumers have always been more like the conservative, traditional Christian audience, and for some reason, I don't know if that demographic just has a hard time with change, or actually no, they don't. It's like the demographic it comes from, you know, that they have a hard time with, and that could be a whole other topic, like the history of that, you know. But
it's a lot of gatekeeping. It's a lot of gatekeeping, and like it doesn't have to be like that. Because I mean, an example like I gave you last night was like, Jack Harlow really was able to maneuver and stuff through hip hop so easily, and there's a lot of artists in hip hop and rap that didn't even get to get there that easily. So I just hate that when it's the other way around, and we have black artists that are country singers and they have such a hard time getting into those spaces, or they go out and do shows and stuff and they feel uncomfortable because of who the audience is, like, and it seems like country is the only space where that is really the case.
I feel like they expect us to be so open and arms open, but it's not always the other way around. And I'm just really happy to see someone like Beyonce paving the way, and I feel like just maybe even pioneering like a new sound to country. And it's really good to see those who are on track though, like Dolly Parton, and you know, I know Reba, like she's not on the album, but I remember when I think someone asked her like in an interview about like the Lil Nas X incident of saying it's not country, and they asked her like, what are your thoughts on it? And she's like, well, what is country, you know? And she kind of even said herself that I feel like I'm paraphrasing, but I feel like she would agree, like there are subgenres, and that like that song is a country, you know, like who's the gatekeeper? I feel like she was also like pushing back, like, well, why are people saying that, you know, what really is country, and why can't a song like that be country, you know? So to see people like that who are really known in the industry, like you were saying earlier, to just be supportive and be on the album and everything, even who performed with her at the CMA?
The Dixie Chicks.
The Dixie Chicks.
Well, I think they just go by the Chicks now.
Oh yeah, the Chicks now. Seeing them with her on the stage, which I'm excited. I feel like Beyonce's probably going to do a performance at the CMAs maybe, but if she does, I'm definitely tuning in, because I've only tuned in ever in my life to that award show because of her. So I haven't watched since 2018. I think the last time she performed there, first and last time. So we'll see if she performs this year or next year at the award. I don't know when it is. I'm so out of touch with that. Like, that whole what you call it, her wearing a cowboy hat. Like, I'm about to get my yeehaw era, y'all, you know. So and I'm excited.
I love it too, and I'm excited for it too, because I've never been a big fan of country music in general, but the country songs that I do like country music gets really vulnerable. They get really vulnerable. It's like, you know, they drink a lot of whiskey, and they do talk about like getting drunk and being in your feelings. And I'm soft and sentimental and emotional, and I like that music. That's why I also really like R&B. And there was one point in my life I loved me some Carrie Underwood. I loved country music, Taylor Swift, Lady Antebellum. Like, there was definitely some country hits that went past like the country charts, because I want to say when I was a kid, I was a big fan of like top 40 like mainstream songs, like, you know what I'm talking about? Like top 40 hits where it's just like all like radio hits. And that's really where I kind of got exposed to it. So I'm like, okay, I'm excited to maybe even just get into country music and myself. And now that I know and like are familiar with like black artists that are in country, I'm like, you know,
I think
I'm gonna really like tap into it and see what it's hitting for, because I like that emotional movement where it's like it makes you want to cry. Even in this album too, there's some songs where it's country, but the way it like hits and just makes me feel emotionally, it moves me like gospel music does. So I'm excited about that. I can even hear towards the end of the album even some rock influence in some of the songs too. So I feel like, you know,
it's rumored that's going to be the next act,
right? And so I'm kind of like, I can see that for sure being the next thing, just because of how the album started to sound at the end.
And I like rock because well, I was more like into, I guess, old school rock. I think that's
like
what
classic
it is.
rock.
No, actually not right. Whatever is on like Guitar Hero.
Yeah,
that kind of rock.
some classic
Is that
rock.
classic? Okay, like what's her name? I actually was really into her when I was in, how old was I? Maybe middle school. I forgot her name, but she's like, I hate myself for loving you, can't break free from the things that you do. I want to put everybody to you.
No, I don't know that one.
Or I'm a cherry bomb. I used to be obsessed playing Guitar Hero. So if you play Guitar Hero, you probably know the song I'm talking about. Sure. And those were like really a good. Or is Hotel California was on there? I don't know if that's rock.
Oh yeah.
Welcome to Hotel California.
That's the Eagles. That's classic rock. Is like my mom when she was in high school, and my mom and dad graduated high school in 77 and 78. Okay. So
I'm old, born 77.
I always think that's crazy. I've had friends like tell me like they were born or their parents were born like when my parents were graduating high school. And me and my mom went to the same high school, but
really,
yeah, we did. But when she was at the school, she was like one of 3 black people in her graduating class. So that's why like her music taste is like very like broad, because that's kind of like what she heard as a teenager. So I do know Hotel California is the Eagles. I love the Beatles. I love Queen.
Wow.
Like I can get into Elton John. So I am kind of excited to hear what the next act is going to be, and maybe it might be some iconic people in like rock music too, because Elton John was just finished like touring a couple years ago. He did that song with Dua Lipa. Like he's very much doing music still.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I think it'll be good. I mean, this album, because I'm not gonna lie, she's doing a country album. Like, I don't really listen to country. Like, I really hope I like this album. But it's Beyonce. She never fails. Or she never misses. So I was like, okay, like, I think if the next album is a rock one, I will probably just love it just as much. And I'll be in my rock clothes, just how I am with the country outfit right now, or country inspired. But
shed some light on the rock girls, because there's definitely black women doing rock music.
I'm pretty sure there is. And also, what was I gonna say? I think I am gonna check out more of like I checked out a little bit of Tanner, Adele. I actually think this was her first feature ever.
Yeah, she did say that.
The fact that like your first feature is on a Beyonce album, like, girl, that says a lot, So I'm really excited to follow her career and see where she goes. And I think her song out right now is Buckle Bunny. It's a cute little song.
It's cute. I hear it all over TikTok, so I feel like
now I do. So
the mini mark.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, let me see what she's about. And even the other. I like the men, and I like their voices. I've always liked a nice Southern country man, like voice. It just do something to me that just soothes my body. So I'm gonna really check them out as well. But what do you like? How do you connect to the album? Or like, are there any significance, like personal significance, that you connect to this album somehow?
Oh yeah, I think like even just the meaning behind it, or at least like what my interpretation of what the meaning was, it's such a reflection of like where I am right now too, especially how I was telling you, just career wise, like the job market sucks right now, and the space that I want to be in, it's just very competitive. And so I am just so determined, and a part of me is a little bit like delusional, but that gets me. That's what keeps me pushing. To just feel like, okay, if these opportunities are not being given to me just from me applying myself and doing applications, networking and stuff, blah blah blah, I'm going to take matters into my own hands and create that space for myself. I think that is like this album, and realizing, and just me getting that from the album is definitely pushing me to just keep going and make me feel like, it's not just because it's hard to get in that space from getting like a job or getting like an internship. That doesn't mean that I can't do that for myself. And no matter what I do, hopefully I'll be able to be in a position to like open up doors for someone else, or even be maybe a mentor to someone else later on down the road that could be in the same position. Also, just to not be afraid to be authentic and to be vulnerable, like public facing, because I think one thing about being a creator, like you can it's like you can create because you enjoy it, but to put it out there is a different thing, and you have to be able to kind of like what am I looking for, like to take criticism. And sometimes, especially with the internet, that can go either way, but it's like you said it last night, but it's like, it's damn if you do or damn if you don't. Like always going to be somebody that has something to say. It's always going to be somebody that will want to be negative or hateful, but there's always going to be people supporting you too. So it just makes me feel like, I want to get back more into being in like really leaning into that creative space, putting myself out there, putting my thoughts out there, my personality out there, because I feel like I feel like that could just really take me so far. and like what I'm pursuing right now and what I want to do. So I feel like, you know, it's definitely making me feel a lot more motivated, for sure.
Yeah. It reminds me when I first listened to Renaissance, and I just get like a boost of just getting inspired and motivation. Once again, Beyonce, you done did it again, queen. Like with this album, I felt the same, like really inspired to just live out loud and not care so much about what others think. And even I realized myself, I'm actually my worst critic, and sometimes I have to. It's actually not even others; it's myself. I'm over here like judging myself for like. When I'm like I do something or post something, I'm just like, oh wait, maybe I should take this down. Like people, what if they're thinking like this and that. But it's like, no, even maybe they aren't, or maybe they are, but you know, who really cares? Like, do you like it? Do I like it? You know, these are like the things I ask myself, and this album is just a reminder of like also creating your own spaces and everything, and staying true to yourself, and being proud of that, and being proud of your lineage. And it makes me even want to just like go back and start asking my family, you know, like why we still have time about like our family history and where we come from. Actually, I think my dad told me like his family, they can trace it back to Houston. So me and Beyonce might be cousins. You my cousin? You know? So, and I think like, what was it? Either one of his cousins, they're named Houston. Someone's named Houston because of that. But they migrated to like Oklahoma, and then Kansas City, Missouri, and then my dad came here to California, and you know, end up with me and my sister. So I want to, even with my mom's side, like go back and just ask, you know, questions and just learn more about our culture and everything. And I actually realized that that's even a thing I have kind of not trouble with, but I do hesitate sometimes, I think, to like talk about my lineage or something like outward, because so basically what I was saying was I've have people like, when I have expressed or when I have like said something about my culture or whatever, and about like being Black and Mexican American, and my coworker, she was just going in on me about not knowing Spanish, or I feel like sometimes like I was talked to as if I didn't know even simple things like what agua fresca was, or like certain terms, or like cultural references. And I'm like, first of all, I grew up in California. I'm surrounded by Mexicans. Even if I wasn't part Mexican,
you would still know.
I would still know. Even this one teacher I used to work with had the audacity to ask me if I was scared of Mexican people, because of the high school I worked at was predominantly Mexican or Hispanic. And I'm like, sir, my mom's Mexican. What are you talking? I'm scared of my legit half of my family. I don't understand these questions, or just
that's crazy.
So sometimes I actually don't mention like anything about like my culture sometimes, because I'm just like, I just don't want to hear the ignorance and like having to defend what I am, like who I am. Like I may not know a lot, but I know enough, and I'm like, how you gonna tell me who I am? But anyways, this album just makes me feel like, you know what, no, like, yeah, it is what I am proud of both cultures, and I always know people are going to have something to say about it, or oh, you should identify like this or like that, but or just like the way, I feel like sometimes the way people take it, they think they have all these assumptions when it comes to like identity or whatever, but I'm like, it's really none of your business. And I don't want to be saying anything. You only say something when people ask. And so it's really funny. I'm like, you asked me, and now you're like asking me 1,000,001 questions. I feel like to like verify. I don't know, but and I feel like with what inspires me with Beyonce is, I feel like people have done that to her about like being country or like from Houston, and like when Daddy's Lessons came out and everything, and all that like rejection and pushback of not wanting to accept her into the genre or even the culture that she comes from, you know. And that's really insane to me, that people will try and push you out or tell you who you are when they don't even know who you are. So that's like my personal connection with it, and just yeah, just living free, like, and love for myself, and yeah.
No, I love that, and that makes so much sense too, because it's like, regardless of how tapped into the culture you are, because your experience in life has a lot to do with that. That doesn't make you less Mexican than, like,
Yeah.
You're black. You're a black woman, and you're also a Mexican.
Or even black.
Too.
We can even go there, you know.
Yeah.
Cause I've had people try me with that too, but freak, what was I gonna say? I forgot.
No, it's good. I just think, like, sometimes it is, people do try to, like, grade you based on how you know. But, like, being Mexican isn't just one thing, and being black isn't just one thing either. Like, there's so much diversity within both groups, because there also has other things to do with it, too. Like, where you grew up, your family background, like, economic background, so many things. So I feel like that is a really good point, because no matter what your experience is, or you know in Spanish, or how much you know about what certain things are, at the end of the day, you're still also a Mexican woman, and same thing with, like, being black too.
And I say Mexican American, like, I know what I am, you know.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a difference between Mexican and Mexican American, and I make it clear, like, how I identify in my family. What they tell me, you know, is what I tell myself. That's where I got it from, and I do remember what I was going to say, and I'm, like, forgetting again. But oh my gosh, why did I do this? Like, I have it in my head, I swear, y'all. And then it's just slipping right back out. Dang. I feel like I have to say, like, right when you're about when we're talking about culture, and now I know what I was gonna say. It's like, people make all these assumptions. It's like, but if only you knew, or maybe ask your, like, instead of being judgmental, why lean into that when you can lean into being empathetic and just figuring the person out? Why don't I know Spanish? You know, ask me that. You know, why, instead of judging me, or instead of judging someone for the way they talk, or because they don't know a certain language, why don't you offer a lending hand, a helping hand, and help them learn? Yeah. Invite them in, help them learn more about it, instead of pushing them out, or like, oh, okay, well then you're not one of us. You know, why go that? I think it's, again, like, leading with love, and coming from love, and being empathetic, of just wanting to bring people, like, beyond, like, bringing people in instead of out, you know, because she didn't have to bring people on this album, but she wanted to bring people with her. And so I just think of things like that, of, like, you never know someone's full story. So just, like, be careful with how you judge, or the assumptions you make about people.
Yeah. I think even just to the simple point, like, just be understanding too.
Yeah,
like,
that too.
With the situation that you're talking about, like, of course you don't know Spanish for some reason, so, like, why not try to, like you said, why not just ask and try to understand, like, maybe what you've been through in your experience as a human being, to understand like why that's the case, because when you really get to know someone's story and what they've been through, it really does make you feel like more empathetic to like where they are in life also. So yeah, that's a big thing.
With Beyonce, it's like people like, oh, she's not country, and then maybe ask yourself, why hasn't she made a country album until now? Mm-hmm. Maybe it's because she wasn't accepted at first, or even when she first came out, you know, she came from Destiny's Child, and even then though, like she would wear like country, like her, I don't know if I call like attire or like like country attire, and celebrate her roots, and she never shied away from being from Houston. And even when they first came out, she had, you know, her accent and everything.
Those accents were heavy
you know. But it's like, ask yourself maybe why she, you know, didn't talk about it so much until now. You know, it's not because she's not, it's because, well, look when she did, y'all criticized her, right? So it's no wonder why maybe she took it a little bit like back, or didn't say much about, you know, her roots. So actually, I feel like she never like shied away from it, but I also could see like how it just wasn't so like front and center.
Yeah.
You know, but like I definitely knew, if you're a Beyonce fan, I think if you were part of the BEYHIVE, you knew she was Houston. Like everywhere she goes, she represents Texas. You know, but if you're not, then you probably wouldn't know so much about her like in that way. So it's just like even with her like not jumping to assumptions, you know, and things like that, and you know, being understandable of like, oh, like it's 20 plus years into her career and she's just dropping her first country album.
Right.
You know, there's a reason, a story behind that, you know.
Yeah, and her experience for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, I really love this album, and
yeah, I can't wait for it like for time to go by to like learn the lyrics and really like get into the music. Maybe we could even do like later on like a update on like after we've had a little bit more time with it.
Yeah,
and, like,
where we're at.
See how things change for sure.
Yeah, because I feel like with every listen, I like it more and more. I'm like, how there's so many songs. I'm like, wait, this was on here? So I'm like, ooh,
yeah,
like
so
hearing,
much.
like it's like reading a book again, and then you understand it more and more each time. Where you're like, oh, I didn't see that before, you know. And certain songs are like the meaning behind it. So yeah, I'm still waiting for my CD to come. So I'm so excited to play that. I want to see how it feels to listen to like in the car, listen to it at the club, listen to it at home. Like I played it with my AirPods, I played it out loud, because it's all different experience, you know, of like how you listen to music.
You hear different things.
Yeah, so once again, I'm gonna probably be replaying it just like I did Renaissance, because and I want to create a like playlist where it all like Cowboy Carter goes into Renaissance, you know. So yeah,
Yes, exciting. Well, let's do a cheers. I'm gonna pour you up again.
Yes, so a cheers. This is our 6th or 7th episode. Ooh,
sorry.
But
even to Cowboy Carter.
Yes.
And even to just this new era of like whatever this is about to be in our life, because Renaissance was its own era and where we
love her. We gonna miss her, because I just remember we was outside just being, for me I was a hot mess, like literally I was hot and I was a mess.
Man, and it was an era in our life, so this is cheers to this new era,
and to it being, I think, a little bit over a month since we've been
started this podcast.
So cheers. And I can't wait for another month.
Yes, and then another month after that. Right, I like the combination. But yes, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you made it this far, because it's probably been like an hour or so. But if you love Beyonce, definitely like, subscribe. If you're listening on the podcast, give us a rating,
share it,
download it, share it, turn your notifications on so you don't miss an episode.
Follow us on our personal pages as well to get to know us more. If you love Beyonce. If you don't love Beyonce, then I guess, you know, we understand.
But if you do, we need you to do that.
Okay.
But yes, thank you guys, and tune in next week for the next episode. Bye.